Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, everybody. And there is a topic that we'll be discussing here today, and that is the importance of the online service scheduler. I'd like to introduce the roundtable today to Brian Davis from Orbee. Brian is the Vice President of Sales and Solutions. Orbee is a company that is helping digital marketing evolve fast and creating waves in marketing technology that will make the automotive industry the one that others follow. Also with us today is our good friend, Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine. Gentlemen, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Hey, thanks, Ted. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it and wonderful to be back.
Brian, you were on the show not too long ago, so thank you for all your contributions and all that Orbee is doing for the industry. So I got to ask both of you about that online service scheduler. Ed, I'll come to you first. How important is that, and is that something we should be taking a little bit closer look at these days?
Absolutely. It's huge. When vehicles don't find a convenient time to break, and when it does, customers want to react instantly. They want to set an appointment. They want to figure out what's going on, see if they can get in and get it checked out. And so they don't pick up the phone and call. They don't call their service advisor. They go online and they try to set an appointment. And so we have to make it convenient. We got to make it easy. They can't go through 12 pages to get there. It's got to be right there in front of them. That's what they're coming there for.
Oh, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't agree more. It's all about convenience and what folks expect in today's fast-paced and modern experience environment, which everybody around us is trying so hard to get right.
And, gone are the days where dealers did not have that digital presence, Ed. As you know, a lot has changed and, forced that change in the last 2.5 years. Ed, how do dealerships try to increase their service traffic?
Well, they do it all kinds of ways. They do it with emails. They do it with direct mail. They do it with manufacturer information on whether it has a recall or not. They do it with connected vehicle data. But the pipeline's already laid. The pipeline is they're coming to our websites, and it's our opportunity to make that convenient and easy for them to use. And if we do that, the traffic will drive itself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. There's a lot of ways for messaging to get out there, but it tends to be that the data pipeline, the customer pipeline is the same, and they want to check out the website. And again, convenience, get in there and get it easy. So service appointments are incredibly important, and they have been for, wow, it's going back, 8-10 years at least. We've really been making a push in this area. Does that time frame sound about right?
That is. It was about 25 years ago when we started setting up websites for dealerships. And it took forever to shift where we started adding some other elements to that. And that's about the timeline that we started adding on some of the other elements to it. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree with you there.
And I'm sure, gentlemen, that during that evolution, there's been a lot of things such as mobile, more people accessing that from their mobile device. And that's got to be a big part of the game as well. Ed, coming back to you, though, how do they measure the performance of their website service scheduler?
Unfortunately, they don't. They check the box that they have one, and then once they think they have one, they move along. No matter how clumsy it is to get there, no matter how many questions it asks, whether it can really set an appointment or not, it's there. If they have any trouble with it, I really need them to call me anyway. And quite frankly, customers don't want to call. We think the same way. When on the sales side, let's get it from that side. If they're looking for a vehicle, we want to talk to them.
Right.
On the service side, we want to ask them 35 different questions. Well, does it do it this and do it? And we get bogged down in that. So we make it way too complicated.
And if I can, let me just come back to you on that, Ed. Bozard Ford Lincoln, big dealership in St. Augustine, Florida, that service scheduler on an average typical weekday, Ed, about how many appointments are we talking at your dealership?
We had 147 this morning. We tick along pretty well, and that only ends up being we have about 50-50 traffic versus appointments versus non-appointments. So We'll see about 300 customers today.
And for you to say that measuring the service scheduler online website performance is something that dealers don't do, that's startling to hear, Ed.
It is. We look at analytics on every other side of it, but we don't look at the analytics on the backside. And that's a huge opportunity for us, because that tells us what our demand is. We don't really know what our demand is until we meet it. but that's some elements that helps us determine what our demand truly is.
Brian Orbee, you work with a lot of dealerships. Tell us from your perspective.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be. Well, first off, there's not much focus on the tool itself because it's sort of viewed as a tool. It's there to do its job, which is to allow people the opportunity to create an appointment online. But there's so much more to it that I can't blame dealers for not looking too deep into it because it hasn't really been pushed very much. But when you have someone with a large store like Ed down at Bozard and half of his appointments are preset online, you've got to wonder what the other half of folks are going through. They're either driving up or maybe trying to call, maybe not getting somebody. So there's a big gap there, right? And it's all too easy to look at the data that the company selling the service scheduler wants to give you and say, hey, we made this many appointments for you. But there are many layers that are not yet peeled back off that onion. And we're trying to, at Orbee, work with our customers to figure out opportunities, whether they're easy opportunities, low-hanging fruit, or very difficult things process-wise that we need to focus on and have more of a long-term plan approach to it. But uncovering the information that's there, but it's not really accessible, easy to get to, and typically is fairly difficult to take action on when you're thinking about measurement and what can I do with a system. So we're trying to bring it back to the people and let the people know what's going on so they can take action and take better care of the customer. So it's a huge focus that's a missed opportunity so far that we're hoping we can turn a corner on.
Brian, I think you may have uncovered something here in fixed ops that has been long overlooked, which is the opportunity, like you just said. Ed, how much of an endemic problem do you think this is, industry wide?
It's huge because, and Brian touched on it a bit there, although I'm going to service about 300 vehicles today, having 50% of them that I'm totally unprepared for drive up here, I'm not good with it because I can't offer them the same service. Right. And I can assure you that a large amount of those didn't set out to just show up at the car dealership today. They set out on their way and something transpired. Maybe they just showed up because they was close by. But a lot of them's already tried to set an appointment. Something caused them not to be able to push all the way through that. And that's an opportunity for us to improve and be able, because when I can predict 80% of what rolls in, then I can better control that day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and the shop capacity. I mean, how many bays do you have back there that you got to worry about? People in the bays making money, and it all relates to planning ahead, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I have 98 bays here and 7 of them rolling. And so that's 105 total. Wow. And I want to be able to tell these guys what's coming in because we can prepare so much more with parts. We can every element of it we can prepare better when we know it's an appointment. And when they drive up, I want to take care of them as well because they have an issue. They're screaming, I got an issue. That's that spontaneous element of it. But I can prepare for them when I know that they're coming.
Wow.
Absolutely.
We're talking today about a possible great opportunity for dealerships with their online service scheduler. We are with Ed Roberts, the COO of Bozard Ford Lincoln, one of the most respected dealers in the nation, and Brian Davis, the Vice President of Sales and Solutions at Orbee. Brian, Orbee has been studying this, and I know working with a large number of dealers at looking back at peeling back at, you said, like you just said, the onion on that service scheduler. And Sure. What are you seeing? Is this an endemic problem?
It is. There's a consensus around most of our dealer customers, and there's hundreds of them, some focused on fixed ops, some not. But when we get down to the nitty gritty and we say, hey, how good is your online process between the store, the tools involved, the website? Most of them feel as if it's poor. They know that they don't have a lot of visibility, but there's other problems, bigger fish to fry, squeaky wheels in front of me yelling about this, that, or the other, text coming and going, so on and so forth. So I can't hold that against them. So if we can make the data easier to understand and take action on, I feel like where Orbee can help is to make it a problem that's addressable for people, almost not tell them how ugly their baby is, right? But just alert them to the opportunity, the potential to help their customers better. Because I think all of the goals that every dealership tends to have, which is I want to increase service retention, I want to increase my CSI, I want to increase my hours per RO. As Ed alluded to a moment ago, preparation and meeting expectations is a major driver of all of those metrics increasing. So whether it's the customer not getting through, so for instance, one of the things that we track with a certain type of service schedulers, at what point in the online process does the person abandon that
Right.
little tool on the website? And if we find that 25% of people roughly abandon at the appointment time availability, and another 20% abandon when they're trying to pick what their car needs, which a lot of people don't know, let's be honest, that's a huge gap. And sometimes that's easy to fix, sometimes it's not. But just awareness to, if I've got 5 opportunities to fix something and 2 of them are the most important, let's focus on those first. What can I do? That's the type of data that Orbee is looking at by just grabbing information that's available from the website tool or asking the vendor for more visibility. We're able to help them make the tool better for the dealership as well. It's a very detailed and very important process to look at. But again, going back to it, we have to try to make it easier so that the Ed Roberts of the world and every fixed ops department, every dealership can really pay attention and direct their staff and their teams as to what to do next. So I hope that answers the question, Ed.
Ed, go ahead, Ed.
It does. And another element to that is you're measuring abandonment rate once they get there.
Mm-hmm.
So many web pages, it's tough to even get to the service scheduler.
Oh, yeah.
And we got to make it convenient to get there because we can't measure that abandonment rate if they never get there. We're looking at it as that's lost opportunity on the sell side. And if we look at it just from the number of times that a customer buys a vehicle versus the number of times that they service a vehicle, they're probably hitting your website at the same ratio. So if they service with you 6 times during the ownership or 8 times, whatever that is, and they, on one ownership, 6 of the 7 times they hit your website, they're looking for service.
Absolutely.
But we look at it from a sales standpoint rather than a service standpoint.
Yeah, this is a small piece of an entire customer journey, a life cycle. A lot of DMSs will measure lifetime value of a customer across all transactions and all services, all purchases. And what we're talking about with the service scheduler is an important piece for return visits, an important piece for retaining your customers and then reselling them a vehicle in the future. But it's a tiny corner of a big office building when you think about the amount of data that is there. So you're absolutely right. The first question I think was about how do we drive traffic to a service drive. And if we know that the top search result and the top traffic driver from online is really the service department because of the reasons that just said, the number of visits and transactions. If we can't tie that piece of it to the whole customer life cycle, like we try to do in a CRM or a DMS, we're not giving ourselves at the dealerships the opportunity to know where individual customers are, to know that Ted Ings needs help, to know that he's looking for something specific. We're just not making it easy for him to find. So part of what Orbee does as a holistic solution is to figure out who is there, what they're doing, and give you actionable information, taking some automation and applying it to the data as well to bring these things forward so that the humans can do what humans do best and take care of the people. The machines don't really take that great care of people, to be honest with you. The humans do, but we've got to make the connection, and that's what it's all about. So you're right, sales has gotten a lot of attention. There's a lot of add-ons and a lot of tools happening. When it comes to service, it's really service scheduler online. Now it's in the DMS. Now let me go to the MPI and do all of this. But there's a huge, I'm telling you, a huge, over 50%, sometimes up to 80%, depending on the service scheduler, of people trying to make an appointment to do business with you and spend that $300, $400, $500 per CPRO. 50 to 80% of them are not able to get what they need from the website.
Wow.
Now, maybe they're calling in, maybe they're coming in, whatever. We just don't know. And I can tell you for certain there is fallout. And whether it's 10 ROs a month or 150, it matters for the growth of your business in the future as other things change with the environment. So that's what we're studying. And I'm really, really happy to continue talking about that.
Ed, in the time we have left, um, this huge opportunity, what are some of the ways to address those customers, those guests who are not able to make an appointment online?
Make it easy. Make it easy for them to be able to find your service tab. Make it easy for them to be able to set an appointment. Don't ask them a bunch of questions. Do the needs assessment when they arrive, just like we do in the sales department. And when you do that, if you look at your overall web traffic, you'll see how many times people are coming to your website, and you can determine what your traffic flow is going to be in your service drive and on your sales floor. So make it convenient, make it easy.
Wow.
Get out ahead of it.
Brian, I'm going to ask our audience if they want to get out ahead of it. If you, everybody at your dealership, realize that there is an opportunity in that online service scheduler, and you would like to reach out to Brian at Orbee and perhaps be involved in this study and help us define some solutions, because I know we will. Brian, what is the best way for the fixed ops community to reach out to Brian Davis?
Oh, please. LinkedIn is a huge place for some exposure and some answers. And we'll be continually posting updates about what happened. So either Orbee or Brian Davis, brian.davis@orbee.com, as you see on the screen. My cell phone number is flashing across. And we are also going to make available our data in the form of a white paper, which Ted, I believe you're going to share, so that people can try to absorb some of this and then maybe reach out if there's additional questions. Any way we can help, absolutely here to do it. We're here for the industry and to try to make it better for everybody.
You know, it's not rocket science, Ed, but it's cutting edge stuff, you know, regardless, isn't it?
Hey, it's very needed. And Brian, thank you for stepping in and making something happen. And
absolutely.
And thanks for the takeaway, because these guys can get something out of it for sure.
Absolutely. I sure hope so. That's what we're here for. Thanks again, Ed, for coming in, and Ted for having us. We greatly appreciate the opportunity.
Brian, I'm going to ask if you would come back at the next Fixed Ops Roundtable and maybe take us a step further. We'll bring some folks in from retail, and we'll take this conversation to the next step with some of the things that you're finding, some of the things that they've identified, and maybe some opportunities that our dealers can capitalize on, if that's okay with you.
I'm 100% all in. We're ready for it.
All right, everybody. Want to thank very much today Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln for being with us, and Brian Davis, a new name here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable from Orbee, orbee.com. Please visit them, check out Brian's website, his email, and I believe that's your cell phone on the screen as well, is it not, Brian?
That's it. I won't turn it off until my wife makes me.
All right. And check out the white paper, everybody. We're distributing that to you now on behalf of the Roundtable. Ed Roberts and Brian Davis here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.